Welcome back, YouTubers, to a first for us. We're reviewing ROH's TV show of us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching.
Me, Mr. Parkin, wearing my I fuck you Japanese t-shirt today, and this guy sitting next to me is NJ.
What's up?
What's up, NJ? What's up to you guys out there? And like I said before, today we're going to be reviewing the ROH TV show. But before you do that, subscribe up above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on the ROH show down below if you saw it.
And please make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Discreet as that, eh?
That's it.
Anyway, so I think the first thing we need to say here, NJ, is that this show was recorded 6 weeks ago, so it's not going to be currently updated with the latest iPay-per-view, which we saw had no title matches, remember? Death of Sonic 9? Remember we reviewed that? We'll make sure you get that review in the description box below, of course. I think we also have to remember that over the next 4 weeks, what we're going to see is we're going to be seeing a snippet a week of the feuds we're going to be getting. It's not really a complete show yet. Today we saw like the tag team feuds, and next week we're going to be seeing Jay Lethal TV title, and in a week we're probably going to see the world title feud. So we're not getting all the feuds in one show. We're getting it all on a 4-weekly basis. What do you think of that, NJ?
I think it's a good idea because, again, it's weird that we've had the pay-per-view already instead of before the build-up to it, but whatever. I'm thinking, now we're actually seeing how it was built up, I guess it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it did compromise the iPay-per-view a little bit, which is one of the reasons I didn't like the iPay-per-view. The TV shows recorded before were kind of compromised the iPay-per-view, but we'll get onto the TV show now and how we felt about it. Now, before we go into this, NJ, I just want to ask, what were your sort of thoughts on the feel of the show? Because I feel that is very important from separating this from a big indie scene to sort of like a low-class version of WWE TNA show.
Well, my main thought is that we're going from a 2-hour show, which would be Raw and TNA, to an hour show. So I was kind of thinking, let's see what I can do in an hour.
I guess they were always going to do an hour, as they're don't going to get much TV time, are they? But,
no.
But an hour was fine, I think, in my opinion. Just from what we saw tonight, we got a lot of stuff in there, so...
A lot of stuff.
What about the arena and stuff like that? The arena, the people, the crowd.
The arena was good. They still carried on with streamers, which, again, I guess just for entertainment-wise, but no.
Get rid of streamers from the British Fist, please. Okay, so we began this show with Kevin Kelly in the ring, introducing the show, announcing the main event between World's Greatest Tag Team and Kings of Wrestling, which is really what should happen. You have the voice of Ring of Honor there, the main commentator, Kevin Kelly introducing the show. I didn't have a problem with that. It's a good way to start off the show, I feel.
With Kelly opening the show, he actually did give us a warm feeling to the show, got us prepared for it, so I think that was a good job done.
Yes, and then he introduces Nigel McGuinness, aka Desmond Wolfe, as the colour commentator. And he comes out there with his best London accent, and he puts over Ring of Honor in his best English accent. It was good to see Nigel McGuinness again, especially after all the history I know he has with ROH.
It was, and he then said, because obviously the way I see him is the entertainment side, and Kevin Kelly's the almost straight talking one, yeah.
It's kind of like me, I'm the straight talker, you're the entertaining side. It's kind of how we work, isn't it? Anyway, that was a good opening segment, I thought. It introduces the show well, like Andrew said, gives you a warm feeling, so... Next, we get a video package showing comments, and we get an interview with Future Shock and the Bravado brothers for their upcoming match, because we knew they were going to have a match. I think the main thing we need with ROH here is it needs to feel more like a wrestling show. We don't just want wrestling, we want build-up to feuds. And for new people such as yourself, NJ, we need to know why these people are in the feud, and we need to really be able to buy into these characters, don't we? And this is what these video packages did quite well.
I agree, right? When you first start watching it, like, this is your first show watching.
Yep.
The fact that you had these two titans with their name labels and everything, and actually explained about why they want this match, why they're going to win in that, it actually let you know who they are and why they want to win this match.
Yeah, and it's really important to you need to be introduced to why they're feuding, and you need to really be able to buy into the characters, whether they're face, whether they're heel, etc. So this is needed for new viewers, such as myself included, and MJ, of course. So then we get the match: Bravados versus the Future Shock, which was a somewhat good TV match, wasn't it? And I think you had a little comment about the way the match was done.
The match, again, what I'll say about this, the one that I picked out from this match compared to the other matches that I've seen in like WWE and TNA, they actually had real good moves that looked different, various moves, not just like one set moves. They had different ways of doing moves, and it was just all nicely done. Yeah,
I mean, when we saw the three-way tag team match at Death of Sonic 9, I kind of expected more of that, to be honest, and I think it got it. I mean, this is a show which is going to focus pretty much on its wrestling, even though we've got all these video packages and stuff. Essentially, what they are is a wrestling company, and we kind of expected to get this type of wrestling from them. But it was good how, especially when you just get introduced to this tag team, you know what their moves are, you can see what their finishes are and stuff. So for me, it was a good introduction match. It only went 7.5 minutes. I kind of expected it to go a bit longer, but I won't complain about it.
Well, I can't say much bad about this match because obviously you're getting new to this TNA, Ring of Honor. Yeah, I got a bit middle there, people, but there we go. And
happens.
Yeah, the good thing about this is that, again, the length was fine because it's just the moves that were done in this match. It was just nicely done.
It achieved what it achieved what it was supposed to achieve in 7.5 minutes, wasn't it? Basically, with the video packages as well. So that's the kind of thing Ring of Honor needed. Video packages and stuff to hype their show. It's something they really need to do on their pay-per-views, but they're doing it for their shows. So let's hope they can learn something from that. It's a more complete wrestling show when you do that kind of thing. What did we get next? We got the pay-per-view. We got the pay-per-view review. We recapped, didn't we? Next, Best in the World. Remember when we reviewed that in June?
I can vaguely remember it.
The four-way tag match. Well, we soon got reminded, didn't we? Because we got the reminders of the matches that we had, and there are positives and negatives here, and we will be honest and upfront with the net because we're not ROH marks, we're not WWE marks, so we'll definitely be honest here. It kind of, in a way, it kind of helps people to realise what has happened in the past with Ring of Honor because they won't know. So it's good that the ROH are trying to introduce, what has actually happened and the feuds that have happened about, 3 months ago, introducing the tag team champions, Davey and Eddie Richards being the sort of main feud.
Like I said, if this was the first time you watched this, you do need to see stuff like this. You do need to see the matches they've had, who's in what match and why. But the thing is, as much as we needed to see it, it did drag on and took up quite a bit of time.
It did. I wasn't expecting this to go on for too long, but it did drag on a little bit, just in our opinion. You people might have, newer viewers might have needed this, but for people like me who've already seen it, then I thought it dragged on a little bit. And if you thought it dragged on a little bit, then I feel it did drag on, even though it's helping people to realise the past of Ring of Honor, which is kind of important when you're going into the TV show. It did drag on a slight amount, but
I think it did.
Overall, it was a good recap. Just dragged on a little bit. That's all I'm going to say.
True, that's it, yeah.
Yep. What do we get next? The Code of Honor segment. Now, just I'll tell you what we did here. As you're a newer viewer than me to ROH, you do this because this was kind of the thing that you were needed to see.
Okay, before I watched this event, I have seen past ones, so I have seen them do it. So I did see them doing it, but now as we had this video package of this, I can't remember his name. Someone's explaining
Jim Cornette and Jay Lethal.
Yeah, they were explaining why they do it, and I was thinking, okay, it makes sense, but at the same time, when I see WWE and TNA, they don't do this handshake thing. When they finish a match, they either attack each other or just leave the match cleanly. And I just thought that leaves you a feeling of what could happen next between those wrestlers.
I'm not a big fan of the Code of Honor, but at least ROH are trying to incorporate it into their TV show as to why it was done. They're telling the new viewers why it's used, so I guess that's pretty good. They had Jim Cornette and Jay Lethal on there, kind of explaining the Code of Honor. You had Jay Lethal on there also talking about his match next week with El Generico, which is kind of a good touch to it, I feel. But overall, again, we've got to remember this is for newer viewers, so newer viewers will now know what the Code of Honor is and why they shake hands. Because if you're watching this at the time, you're going to wonder why they're shaking hands in the ring and not just pummeling each other like they do in WWE and TNA. Code of Honor there, NJ, between the British Fist. We adhere to the Code of Honor here on British Fist. But anyway, next segment, NJ. Come on, yeah.
Okay, let's go for it.
Right, next we had a video package showing Kings of Wrestling versus World's Greatest Tag Team at Best in the World. Now, although this was good hype for their main event and it showed them why they're feuding and the match they had, again, we kind of already saw this in the last thing. And although it might have been needed, we'd already seen it in that ROH Best in the World pay-per-view recap, didn't we? So for us, it's a little bit repetitive, and we didn't really like that too much, did we?
No, again, as much as I'm saying it's for the newer fans to get into it and see past stuff, the fact they're replaying stuff, I just thought that was just not needed, and they should have just gone straight on to the main event.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it from a newer fan standpoint, you do kind of need to realise why these guys are in a match with each other. Kind of like you did. I'd have liked it, actually, if they did what they did with the first match, and have, interviews with both tag teams. I thought that would have been a bit more substantial because we've already seen why they're actually feuding with each other in the previous pay-per-view review video package. So maybe have some interviews there, which something which was effective for the first match would be equally effective for the second match, in my opinion.
It would have, yes.
And I think you had some problems with some issues with the constant showing of the website. Now, before you say your bit, all I want to say here is the ROH website is the main point of contact with ROH, which is why they were showing it so much, but they did show it a lot tonight, which was, in my opinion, understandable, but NJ had some other opinions about it. Do you want to get them off your chest?
Okay, here we go. Okay, right, I was watching the show thinking, right, ROH is all about wrestling, Right, I was watching this, and they had the starting match was 7 minutes, which it could have gone longer and taken out some of these stupid website showings, but then when it got to the website showing, First time I was thinking, okay, advertising that good. And straight after that one, it would show it again. I'm like, okay, we don't need to see that.
NJ, it's not a Cena rant. Calm down.
And then they showed it again later.
Oh, okay.
Too many times.
Yeah, so a little bit of a rant there from NJ, but we're not gonna throw any punches here. We're not gonna give ROH a free pass just because of these things. We're gonna analyse the shows just like we do with WWE and TNA. So these things we do have to kind of mention, even on ROH's first TV opening, we still need to mention these things and ways they need to improve. So we will mention anything like that, for example. We got the main event next, which was between Kings of Wrestling and World's Greatest Tag Team for the ROH Tag Team Championship. Now, I have two things here, two things to say. They can have this is exactly the same as what I say with WWE and TNA. They had a title match on TV, but not at their latest pay-per-view. That kind of sucks for me. I really wish they would have had it on their latest pay-per-view. And also, it kind of makes sense having World's Greatest Tag Team as the main event on their first show, because you've got Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, who used to be in WWE, that a lot of new viewers will probably say to themselves, oh, I remember them from WWE, and they'll know exactly who they are. So it's a good way to start off the show, because you're starting off the show with people with people that our WWE fans might be familiar with, and then it might make them want to watch next week, because they might wonder who else is familiar in this company. So a good main event, I thought.
That's very true. The other thing I'm going to say, just like the beginning of the night, this match did have good wrestling moves from both tag teams. It made the match entertaining, because you do expect it from the greatest tag teams. You do expect that. The other team,
Kings of Wrestling,
they need to obviously have their show and their talent, their thing, if they're going to progress on something else afterwards.
And I believe this was King of Wrestling's last match before they went into WWE, I think. So
everybody sigh.
That sounds more like a meditation, but whatever, NJ. So yeah, the match itself, it got 15 minutes, which is good time for a main event. We don't usually see 15-minute main events in WWE or TNA, do we? So to have 15 minutes for a main event, especially with a tag team title match, which is very important, and one of the reasons why I personally watch ROH, because they're tag teams. Hey, this was a tag team special tonight, wasn't it? We got 2 tag team matches, so great. If you love tag team wrestling, this was the show for you, wasn't it, really?
I think it was, yeah. It had good 2 tag team matches.
Yeah, two very good tag team matches. At the end, well, World's Greatest Tag Team win, of course. They win after 15 minutes. And after that, we get the TV title match announced for next week. So good hype for next week's show. As we know, it's El Generico versus Jay Lethal in a TV title match. Again, I will say this, though, ROH. On your last pay-per-view, you had Jay Lethal as your TV champion, and now we're going to see El Generico as the TV champion. A bit of a lack of continuity there. That is a bit nitpicky, I guess. So.
My positive point, you said the negative. My positive is just watch this event. You've had the feel of the first TV showing. And they're actually giving you a match that's been next week. Because if you know these 2 wrestlers that's in the match next week, it's going to get you to go, oh, I can't wait for that match. I'll tune in next week. And good thinking, all right.
2 title matches at that. Title match for the main event. Title match for the main event next week, I imagine.
That's another good point.
Yeah. So now we've pretty much reviewed everything that happened in the show. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be giving our overall thoughts on the show. I'll go to you first then, Jay. What did you think of the show? Overall, as a show, I mean, I'd say personally, I expected a little bit more wrestling, but with all the video packages and stuff, some weren't needed, I guess. But it still helped to make the show feel a little bit better for newcomers, in my opinion. I want to just know your thoughts on this.
Okay, again, I'm just repeat the same thing. 50 minutes or 50 minutes to an hour. I was expecting, right, they've got to cram as much as they can in this to get people entertained and want to watch it again. And I'm thinking that the first match could have been longer if they took out some of the unneeded video packages and stuff. Maybe made the match a bit longer so it does count as wrestling.
Yes.
And then had some of the hype for each match. Had like video package before a short video package or interview, and then the main event. And I think the main event itself, that was entertaining. It had wrestlers that we wanted to see wrestle. I give it a thumbs up to that.
I mean, the thing is, you know, with ROH, you're going to get great wrestling. We've seen that from the iPay-per-views we've watched and stuff. And to be honest, like I said before, they did need the sort of the video packages, especially for newcomers. I just feel some of them, like I said before, weren't needed. But I guess it's kind of ROH need to do these video packages at some point so we can buy into their wrestlers, buy into their feuds, buy into their products. So I guess in that sense, it was kind of needed. As more of a newcomer. Did you feel these video packages achieved what they were supposed to achieve in terms of buying into new things?
Minus the flipping website ones. The wrestling packages, yes.
Okay, so did you or did you not enjoy the show, and would you watch it next week if we watched it?
I'm going to say if the matches were put on longer, like the 50-minute thumbs up to that, 7 minutes for starting match. Again, that's the match that's going to give you a good feeling for the rest of the event.
Yep.
So if it maybe was made long, it had good moves in it. I'm not going to doubt that. It had good moves in. If it was made longer, then I think it would be good. But my answer to that would be, yes, I will watch next week.
You will watch next week.
But we also one thing, ROH fans, check out our website because you can buy this DVD.
Facebook.com/British Fist.
Yeah, check that website more than ROH's.
All right, okay. Whatever, do what you want. But as to me, as I think I've been looking forward to watching this for a while now, and it's their first TV taping, so I've got to keep that into account while also being critical as well, because I don't want to be an ROH mark and just say, oh, that was great, oh, that was great, oh, that was brilliant, 5-star match. But you know, for a first TV taping, I was quite pleased with it. I personally expected maybe a little bit more wrestling, but I can understand why they did what they did, even though there was a little bit too much video package, in my opinion. But I can understand why they did it that long. It's just, I think some of it was a bit repetitive and could have been taken out. Other than that, I did enjoy the show. I did enjoy the wrestling. I think, to be honest, it's aimed more at newcomers, which is a little bit bad for me as like a sort of more of a hardcore ROH fan. But I guess I was still entertained by it, so it was still a good show, I thought. We're not going to grade it or anything, but not going to grade it until we, watched a couple. But I'll be watching it next week. You will, so we'll get a review out next week for you guys, giving us further thoughts on the next ROH show, I guess.
And what I'll say now is that please leave your comments about this show in the comment section below.
Yeah.
And you've heard this review from Mr. That's ROH Parkin and me, NJ. What's up?
Yes, and make sure you check out our Wednesday video where we'll be putting out the things that we like about ROH and the things we don't like about ROH, and in actual fact how we would improve ROH's product. So make sure you check that out on Wednesday. That's it from us, the British Fist,
Catching
ROH Wrestling Review, the first one ever. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.